Hi everyone, welcome back to day 11 of our Halloween Book Nook. Today we're going to look at our skeleton. I don't know if, I'm sure you can get these, they're kind of a garland of them. We would get them in our Poundland store, but I expect you can probably get them in a dollar store or equivalent. So they just come on a string, and that's what I've been using to make these skeletons with. If you looked at our video yesterday, you'll see that we did drill through this skeleton's eyes. I don't know if you can see that. Where are we? Oh, you can tell I haven't done this for a couple of days. So that we can put some LED lights in there. We're also going to dress him. And we've got the pattern ready and the material, so I'm just waiting for one of those mini irons to come. So I'm going to show you how I actually pose him, and it's going to be the same as we did for the one in the medieval book nook. He's also going to get a robe, but in brown. So hopefully that'll arrive before the end of today, so I can include that on this video. So it's very simple. Once you've removed him from the garland, and I'm posing them to sit in a rocking chair. I'm making a black one over here, that's just setting up to go in the Halloween book nook. So I'll use this brown one that I've already got. He also does fit in the medieval chair as well. So whichever chair you've got, hopefully your skeleton will fit in there. And he's about just between, well, 5.5 inches, so nearly 6 foot, so definitely 12 scale. And it's a little bit cruel. We have to take a saw to him. And it's really simple of thinking. The hips on these ones are jointed, the arms aren't. So the hips are easy to move, and of course if he's sitting down like this one, I need him to bend at the knees. So I'm probably going to do very similar pose to this one. This one is going to be death. He's going to be sitting in his rocking chair, gazing at his picture of his raven Edgar while being warmed by the fire. And we'll be making that later on today too. So I just kind of keep sawing through. This is just a jeweler's hacksaw until it gives. It doesn't matter if it breaks off, because we're going to use super glue anyway. So kind of think, oh, where would I like his leg to be? The lighting's not great in here today, and I don't know why. So that looks perfect to me. Can you see that? I don't know which way around. There. So that looks good. So I want to set his leg exactly there. And I found that it's just the pose he's making is making me laugh. He's kind of like with his arms out like that. Like, oh dear. Right, I found that the super glue and baking powder method works, and we did have a question about whether I meant to say baking soda or baking powder, and I do mean baking powder when I say baking powder, because I find it's got a little bit more kind of starch in there than just straight baking soda, and that makes it, if you wanted to, easier to sand, but I won't be doing that on this anyway. So get some super glue. This is basically, it's kind of a right angle pose actually, so hold the leg in the pose that you would like, squeeze some super glue on there, and then we sprinkle the baking powder on there to instantly set it. And it takes a few layers, this, to build up, and he will still slightly move, so I'll do it from behind as well. The super glue and baking soda together, let me get that, can I get that? Oh, can you see that? Oh, there. I don't know if it's going to focus in. Gives a nice white textured surface, not unlike cartilage, so it actually looks really good in this. application. So I'll just do the back of the knee as well. I'll do it on both sides. Make sure it's in that pose that I want. And then check it in on your chair or your piece of furniture. He's got one leg out. He looks like he's someone that's broken his leg, and he's got to rest that one out flat at the minute. So that is good. Is it? It's a little bit still. You can see there's some super glue squeezing out there because I did put a load on. So go back in with the baking powder. So that's all there is to that. And if you find it doesn't get the angle you want, add some more glue, do it again, cut it and redo it. I think sometimes the super glue doesn't always stick to this plastic, but just keep going back in and it will eventually solidify and stick. So kind of just do whatever pose you want. This one I wanted him to make it look as if he was telling a tall tale, so he's kind of animated. That makes him look a bit real. So I'll carry on now and break most of his joints and reset them, and then we'll come back later to do the fire for the fireplace. Okay, so I've got him in a position that I'm happy with. He's just slightly leaning forward onto his knee, and I'm not going to glue him in that position just yet because I want to put his robe on him. And then he's got one hand extended and I want him to be toasting something in the fire. So, and then that's the other one. I think it'd be quite fun to position them like they're having a fireside chat. So whilst we're still waiting for the iron for the robe, I have cut out the robe just now. And I did use the rotary blade and the pink mat. The only trouble is the pink mat, it's nicely grippy, which means it does grip the material and it frays a bit at the edge. But this is a very thin material. So that's the shape of it. I do have that fabric glue that you can iron, but it's a bit thick. So I'm going to use tacky glue with the iron, as Era in Bentley House Minis has done before, and that looked a really good method, so I'm going to try that today. So let's hope the iron gets here soon. So while we're waiting for that, I thought we would work on the fire, and this is going to be an insert fire. You've seen before I've used a stove, which is coming out next week after the Halloween Book Nook Series is finished. I thought I'd do an open fireplace for this one. And so I've got just a piece of chipboard which I've painted black, and that's going to be the base, and it will sit on the black hearth, so that's so you won't see the edges. And what I thought I'd do, because this is Death's Book Nook, the fire will be, I'm going to chop up some bones and skulls. So the fire will be burning bones and skulls, which is pretty gruesome. So to go with that, let me make sure I get the right thing here. Rod has wired up for me in exactly the same way as we did the UV light with this battery pack and the wires. We've now got 2 flicker flames in green. So the fire is burning on the spirit, the essence of the souls who have passed. So that's why we're going to have a very ghostly green fire. So I want to put those under there. And then I'm going to glue skulls and bones and things on top. So we'll do the same thing. I'll get the hacksaw out, cut off some bones, and then glue them on here. And then I'll come back and I'll show you how I do the flames. Okay, so I'm going to put a photo now. I just cut some chipboard by hand with the scissors to use as a base, and I painted it black. And you can see here, there's the base is underneath. I glued the LEDs, there's the red and black wire of the LEDs onto the base. I took the extra wire and just twisted it around itself and used some tape there because I had too much wire. And then I have taken all different bits of the skeleton and glued them on and around the LEDs. And this mitre shears tool came in really handy for that, as well as the saw, but this one's just quicker. So that was just kind of artistic license there, chopping and placing of bones and things. And then when you put it on, you get a really cool effect. Which way up are we? There. And it glows through the bones quite nicely, and in the fireplace it actually looks really good. And I'm tempted almost just to have them glowing without the flames, but we're going to do the flames anyway, so you can see how I do them. And it's kind of, I'm going to have to dribble them in there because you want them to attach to the LED so that it works almost like an optic fibre then. So it comes out the strand. If you keep it in one strand, it will come out and then up. So, are you going to see this? I think I'm just going to switch to a larger screen because I'll be doing this in front of me. So I'm just going to switch to a larger screen and then show you how I do that. And this is just a regular Dremel glue gun, and I'm putting it on low. Okay, hopefully that's not too scary for you. And we don't really like glue guns for most miniatures work, but I found they really do work well with flames. So what I'm going to do is, can you see this? Where are you? I'm going to let this drip into and onto the LED. And then what I do is I turn it upside down and actually let gravity do some of the work and just slowly build the flame out. It's kind of just let it, as it pulls out, slightly tease it away, and then hopefully the coolness of the air will set it. And then go in again. I'm going to get rid of that and get some fresh glue. And then I'm going to go into the other eye socket LED. Got eye sockets on the brain from the other one. And then turn that upside down again. And like that. I just come out. And you do get these tails, but that's okay. We can cut them off afterwards. And then put the lights on. I don't know, is that too bright, isn't it? It's too bright to get on camera. It kind of is glowing up through, oh, don't know if you're going to be able to see that, through the hot glue. So you could leave it on while you're doing it so that you get a better idea of what it's going to look like. And then you just play around, and wherever you think a flame might come out, then let that naturally come out and sink down. Hang on, if I switch that off again. Can you see that there? Let me just... Oh, it's so bright. What a yucky mess of bones and glue. I'll put it on again because it really does help me when I'm looking at where to put the next one. And you can always cut them with scissors as well, these shreds afterwards, threads. Ooh. There's an air bubble popping there. So I'm just going to let that hold it while it sets up, and then I'll show you the right way up when it's set. Okay, I'll put a photo up of the finished fireplace with flames now so that you can see that without the lights on, and I'll put a little video at the end of it with the lights on, and I'm really happy with how that came out. So of course that's a standalone fireplace. You could put that in the Book Nook, or you could, or any other one, and you could wire that in if you wanted to. Bring the wires up through the chimney, and if you remember, we could have put that in there and then have the wires hidden inside. So that looks fab, and the iron has now arrived. You can see it's got a little mini ironing plate on the end, and this was from Amazon. The regular make is called Clover, but I didn't actually like the look of the handle on that. I kind of like this one. It looked more like a pen, and it has 2 heat settings. I'm trying the lowest one first, and I hope I don't burn myself. And it does come with a stand that sort of fits in like that. So I'll leave that to heat up there, and this is the pattern. So this is the hood and a kind of little cape thing, and this is the main part of the cloak. So you can imagine these are the arms, that's the back, and this is the front. So the first thing we need to do is sort of put a hem on anywhere that's not going to have a join. So the cuffs, for example, we could put a hem along those, and for sure the front of the cloak and then the bottoms, and then these seams get joined up. And again for the hood, this is the front of the hood, so that would get seamed, and probably the front of the kind of capelet and the bottom, and then these ones get joined up. So this is straight. We'll try that one first, and I'm going to put the glue on with a cocktail stick. It's regular tacky glue, and maybe I could do with some tweezers. I want to keep my fingers out of the way of that ironing tip. So let's have a go. I'm just going to put a small amount of glue along the front, and really we don't want the glue, too much glue to go through so that it soaks through and you see it on the other side, but it might well do that, I don't know. It's a very thin material, this. And I have a feeling if I start at one end and go along, the bias of the material might skew it, but I can't start in the middle because there's glue there along either side, so let me think. This is a silicone mat as well, so it's okay to iron on it. I'm just going to see if I literally can fold it over. Yes, that works. So fold it over in the middle and then work my way out to the end. So I'm going to, you can't see that, I know, I folded it over. I don't know if this is even warm yet. The red light's on. Oh yes, I think. No, it's warm, but it's not hot yet. So we'll glue this over and just hold it down. Probably don't need an iron either. You could probably just hold this and it will go through. I don't know how long this takes to, I'll turn it up a bit. Oh yes, there is some heat there. Well, that's actually worked. It's a bit yucky on the other side, but that could be my silicone mat. I was gluing on it earlier. So ignoring that, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, where are we, there. It's black, which is not great. That's a nice, it's actually a nice, neat seam. So let's carry on with that and just put glue wherever I'm not going to be joining it to something else. And I have got that fabric glue, as I said earlier, that is designed to be set, but it's a clear glue and it's more gloopy and doesn't come out very thin. So I don't know that it would be great on something this small. So I'll put this on fast forward now and we'll see how it goes at the end. Okay, it's working. It's, I won't say exactly pretty, but I know it won't fray, so that's cool. So when we've done the all the front seams or hems, we now need to join these two together. So making sure that we, oh no, ignore me, it's the other way around. We join that seam there to make the hood, and then that one is the back of the neck. So if I open it out again, these two join onto each other, and then those two, and then we would turn it inside out so that all the seams are on this sort of edge, and then when we turn it inside out you can't see any seams. So let's try that. And I should probably press those seams. That's quite cool. That's quite cool. I'll press these back seams flat, as you would when you're making something. It's not a non-stick plate, and there is some glue stuck to it. So I don't think this method would be very good if you were wanting some fine clothing. And probably that's why the fabric, the heatable fabric glue is better, because it's clear. And let's do the bottom seam of his hat too. Hood, hat, hood. That's better. And then okay, that's not too bad, is it? Can you see that? And then if we got our subject and put him in, and we'll need something to tie it around his head, and then that will droop down there at the back. And then I think the large cloak, you can either put the large cloak over this and hide this sort of cape, or this can sit over the large cloak. So that's okay so far. I think that's okay. So I will carry on now with this one. As I said, I'll do that off camera now, because it must be like watching paint dry. I'm going to do the seams on his cuffs and down the front and along the bottoms, and then I'm going to join those up. I'll see you later. Okay, so I've seamed all of these edges, or hemmed them, sorry, and now I just need to kind of flip it in half so that as we go like that, you can see the shape of the cloak. And so we will glue these seams here and those there. And I must say, the straight edge hemming worked. You could get quite a rhythm where you just kind of folded it and ironed it as you went. So that was much easier. So I'm going to put glue on that edge now, and then I'll iron that, and then when we turn it inside out, that should be the right way round. Okay, we have a robe. It's a little bunched up under the arm there, and there's bits of glue all over it, but I'm sure he's more of a shabby chic guy anyway, so we'll try. I think, let's see. Oh, yes. Might have to break his arm to get the other side on. But let's have a look at everything else. I think is okay. Let's see if we can. That one will go back a bit. There we go. And probably could do with a belt of some kind. And what I might do is glue the fabric where I want it to kind of stay there on his hand. I don't know if you can see that there. So glue that there, glue the different bits onto his body, gather it round a bit, and then see how that works. Well, he's kind of getting there. I won't be taking this up for a career anyway. I've got to do another one of these in brown for the monk for the medieval book nook. So if that turns out any better, I will update you. Probably black's not the best material either for showing up glue. So I think that's it for today. Oh, the only other thing was, if you didn't want to do soldering, this is a tea light, and you can just take the lid off. They're only tiny weeny batteries, so nothing's going to give you an electric shock or anything there. And then you've got the LED is under the flame, so you could take the flame off. You could build you don't have to use bones. You could build the twigs or logs. You can go to the park and just get some little branches and chop them up and glue them around that if you wanted to, and do the hot glue in the same way that I did. So that's an easy way to create a freestanding and non-wired fire. So I think that's it for today. I'll put up the video now of the skull fire lit. Where are we? There. With the flames, and we're nearly there. We're day, where are we? We're 11 today, so we've got day 12. So hopefully tomorrow I'll have finished this guy. The rocking chair is set up, but I want to give it a couple of coats of paint and varnish just to harden it up a bit, and we'll look at the interior of the book nook and any decor items that we can add for that. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you soon.